4x4 and Rudude to get things going. 4x4, take it away.
All right, let's get weird. We've got Ivern bans, Tristana bans, the Gwen ban, Viego. This is such... I know we're on a new patch, Rudude, but these bans are so targeted, and it makes me so happy.
Oh, there are so many OP champions that have not been banned. This is what you would expect if Red played Vivo Cade Stars. I love that Melio is taken off the board. For those of you at home, we know that both Yuumi and Melio got nerfed. The Yuumi nerfs hit, the Melio nerfs meant nothing. Spam this champion, it's still OP. Shout out Vivo Cade for taking it off the board. We've got things like Nico open that had been entirely taken off of CBLOL presence from last week, and that could be picked up by either of these two teams. The Maokai locks in first, very safe, stock and standard mid laner, helps out with invading as well, can lock down one target and allow for a carry in the mid lane to try and go huge.
Yep, and Envy has that potential in him, right? That's the thing. With Aegis on this lineup, Envy, Titan, and FNB, each of those guys can win you games, right? We talk about Trigo and Damage, how they are the stability to the top side's wackiness. That's the opposite here. Aegis is happy to take a quote-unquote backseat, and there you go. You got that Kai'Sa. Obviously, the static shiv, might not be as prevalent in the league, but Kai'Sa still a divisive pick, Rudude. Some people think she's a bait, but Trigo certainly does not, and he has proven it.
No, and I think that Kai'Sa are one of the few champions that can still survive with a static shiv as well. It gives you your Q upgrade if you go for a Rage Blade, and then obviously scales nicely with the magic damage that you're going to build up a little bit later on. So Trigo, obviously with the successes previously, no harm in him locking this one down. The Ophelio's still open, and Titan obviously has this option of potentially looking for a more aggressive laning phase as well. The Kai'Sa's lane can be subject to takeout, but it's a double locking of solo laners for the Red Canids, and they are so ready for whatever Vivo Cade want to throw down. They've banned away the Gwen. They say, I can blind Renekton into whatever you like. And now Vivo Cade Stars can only answer one of these picks with this R3, and then the second lane is going to get totally banned out.
I remember in the 2021 World Song, the cinematic, they showed, you know, a lot of pro players, or in the music video, a lot of pro players as their favorite champions, their signature champs. FNB got a little bit of a shout out as the Renekton, playing with that big blade with the crocodile wield. It's been a while since we've seen him on this champion. I believe it's his first time playing it this split. But on the other side, Revthar gonna lock in the Azir here.
So a lot of actual magic damage already for Vivo Cade Stars. Now, of course, there's the option for the Kai'Sa to go for a very much AD route, but we'll get into that in-game when we get to see a better look at the Keystone. Heading into the second round of picks, though, Vivo Cade Stars, they've got already a fair amount of dive between the Sejuani and the Kai'Sa, and then the backline, the default fail-safe that will be Revthar on this Azir. Red Canids, a little bit of the same, honestly. They've got the poke from Envy, and then they've got this good dive that they've picked up with the Maokai and the Renekton. Need to see where they round out that composition on the red side. The premier dive AD carry has been taken off the board, but with Xayah banned away as well, that safety that we would have expected to see from red, not open either.
And I was talking off air, I wanted to see them give Guigo R5 after I found out what sides these two teams were on. Taking away the Olaf, taking away the Gwen, taking away the Jax. 3 of the 5 bans going towards the top laner for Vivo Cade Stars. Aphelios covered. Oh, so it might be hold the phone here with the AD carry. I mean,
no.
They are just hovers.
No.
It got my heart rate up there for a little bit. But yeah, a lot of attention paid. And the Jinx ban as well. That's another pick that people, I've heard certain people on the Twitter.com say, you're still sleeping on this pick. Jinx is still crazy.
Yep, and they're true. They are accurate. Those people need to be respected. The Cassante gets locked in though. Very standard sort of top lane pick. Stonewall in the top lane, if anything. Not necessarily the Gigo is going to 1v9 your backline, but maybe a 2v8 with Cassante.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, Envy, he's got a lot of mobility tools. He wants to get into the back line, right? Especially in the late game. That is the peak Renekton fantasy. And Envy on the Aegis, on the Jace is going to have disengage as well, right? To try to get Guigo off him if he tries to go towards that back line. But again, the AD carry is still not locked in. So I'm interested to see how much mobility they want to put into this AD carry. Do you go full poke? Do you get Titan on the Ezreal? That's a champion that he's been extremely comfortable on his entire career. Allows for him to have those highlight reel outplay moments. But I can't remember the last time, Rudu, that we saw an AD carry all the way down in V5.
Now, me as an AD carry player, absolutely adore this. Me as a spectator and a fan of the CBLOL, I am absolutely in no way surprised that the Aphelios gets taken here, right? Like, it's just the best AD carry that's left. RMC touched on it last game. The Aphelios nerfs, honestly, were fake. They also didn't really do anything. Yes, you've got a little bit less sustain off of your Severum, and the attack speed on your sentry gun isn't quite as fast. Like, those two things don't matter. If you get an Inferno multi that crits all 5 people, you still kill them all.
Nautilus versus Leona for Frosty and damage. Damage extremely comfortable on these types of champions. Some stock standard compositions coming here for VKS, but on the red side, you have a couple more high volatility picks for these guys that on their day could be two of the best solo laners in their respective positions. FNB going to be looking to get ahead on this Renekton, snowball that advantage otherwise. Vigo try to soak up the pressure. Yeso, what do we think of this draft?
I'm loving seeing Trigo back on this Kai'Sa pick, and of course they pair it up with a staple. You're bringing that hard crowd control with that Leona. I also love that VKS opted to save that support pick for R5, recognizing they could already get counter pick for Gigo there at R4 and get the full picture of the lineup from red, and they end up taking the Leona. So plenty of engage, of course, similar to last game. A lot of opportunities to make things happen in team fights. Little less disengage this time around, though, without the Renata available. Of course, the Maokai does have a lot of power on that front with the Nature's Grasp, but this one sets up once again, gentlemen, to be action-packed, team fight heavy, and I think that kind of long bout of tension that we had in game 1 of today where neither team could quite find the engage they were looking for, something tells me not quite going to be able to happen this time around. I think these teams are going to find the fights that they're looking for, and it should be pretty fun.
Titan started the split with 4 games of Aphelios and then didn't touch him at all until this game. Like we said, it was kind of the best AD carry left as that meta has shifted on and off. But I think Yeso's right. This isn't going to be a kind of high tension. Maybe one team doesn't feel like they can pull the trigger just yet. I think this game could be over in like 28 minutes. That's absolutely a universe that exists. This game gets out of control. One thing I am a little disappointed in, and maybe that counters my line of thought here, Rude, is for 2 of the most exciting junglers in the region, the fact that we got Maokai Sejuani does make me a little sad.
But we're going to get to see a different take on these exciting junglers for we get to see what makes their brains so big. If they can look to make some plays on the map, maybe set up their solo laners for success. We've seen the Renekton Cassante match up a couple of times already. This split tends to be that in this instance, the Renekton is going to get a lot of control over that top side, especially on that one item marker, the Gore Drinker, and then you're really looking to use that Renekton power spike. Once you've got the Gore Drinker, make sure that you're punishing with it. Make sure that you're finding team fights around neutral objectives and putting in work.
And so we're going to be watching again around that 12-minute mark when the teleports get unleashed. Can Gigo match that teleport? Can FNBB in that right place at the right time? Frosty and Aegis got to lay down those wards to try to get him into those advantageous positions. Yeah, I mean that's the cardinal sin of Renekton gameplay is you don't use that spike where you are conceivably the strongest champion of the 10 on the Rift. And that kind of brings me to Envy as well, right? Jace loves a mid-game power spike. Once he gets that Muramana down, those are 2 big item spikes that we're going to be looking for, again, around these neutral objectives where Poke can thrive so heavily.
I do want to hopefully take a couple of minutes to just zoom out and remind everybody that this is our match of the week, right? The story between these 2 teams really does just go back far and away beyond just this end of first round robin. If you missed it, go to our Twitter for a little hype video that myself and 404 put together, because honestly, the entertainment value also quite high, but you get a real good sense of the story of these 2 teams as well, the time in which they played against one another, with one another as well, these 2 teams, and the players on it have all got interlocking personalities that goes back further than just this game.
Yeah, it's a bit of a... because the CBLOL has such a rich history that goes back such a long time. This is very much a, hey, if you've joined us in the last few years, you can still get the full picture of this. Damage just misses that Zenith Blade there onto Titan. So it's a bit of a post-pandemic CBLOL historian's dream. There are a lot of, like you said, interlocking personalities and storylines. Revthar was in Brazil's 3rd tier in 2018. And he, with a lot of that Red Canids lineup, we go Jojo, who's now on Fluxu, excuse me. They kind of came up together. Titan decided after he won 2 titles in 2018, boom, he said, I'm going to go to a team that was just relegated in Red Canids, and I'm going to get them back up when we still had Pro Rel before franchising. FNB having himself a grand old time in this lane. That is quite the gravitas that the Renekton exerts here, Rudy.
This is exactly what you want from this lane as well. You push in the first 3 waves, and then you're able to proxy the 4th. You can base a lot earlier, get yourself a real advantage to get back into the lane, and if he goes for 1 more, it's then him basing on a cannon wave, means that his recall is even better timed, and I'm surprised he's not proxying this one as well. He's actually just spent 10 seconds walking around not actually doing anything. So a little bit of a fumble for me on how I'd have liked to have seen FNB play out, because he'd done everything right up until this point. But now he doesn't get that instant cheater recall, and he's going to have to just continue the laning phase, as advantageous as it may be, without that item disparity.
He didn't quite leverage the advantage how maybe he would have liked. Get a little bit of vision. Now, hang on a second. Trigo's in some trouble here, guys. He's got the Ignite down on him. He has to flash away. First blood over to Titan on the Aphelios, and Titan will go down thanks to Grell being at the right place at the right time. So they trade kills back and forth. Frosty, yeah, just kind of making Grell's life a little annoying.
Yeah, there's nobody there. The Sejuani not going to fall to a Nautilus. I think Grethvar's fine here as well. Should have the shifting sands available to take him out to safety. 1 small sapling, not going to make too much difference. A big win for the Red Canids, though, down on that bot side. Kill for kill, and it's your AD carry who gets the kill versus the assist for Trigo. So a big win for Titan, and we're there seeing that Kai'Sa can be punished in these early stages of the game. Actually not the strongest laning AD carry, even when you've supplemented it with a Leona applying a couple of those plasma procs, tends to offset that, but the Nautilus, the Aphelios, with their range, with their engage tools, definitely very powerful, and it's good to see that Titan and Frosty, after having honestly a couple of games where they've been getting solo killed, that they're getting some kills back themselves.
Well, and it's like, and that was a 2v2, right? That wasn't an assist from Aegis, but they're recognizing, like you said, when you think Aphelios, you think late game monster, and that's absolutely true. But it's like you said, the range makes Aphelios a sort of an underrated laner. It's not a part of his kit, and his strengths get talked about a ton, and especially into a Kai'Sa Leona, like you said, they're going to be down tools a little bit. So I think Trigo and Damage are going to be a little more dissuaded. And again, they are a little more passive. And Grevstar, in interviews, he's talked about how, look, we kind of like that. If we had 5 Lunatics on the same team, this wouldn't be good, right? But the Lunatics kind of just stay on the top side. Trigo and Damage, they show up at the 20-minute mark and execute. These guys have been to 3 of the last 4 finals for Trigo. Damage, 4 in a row in 2nd place. Like, it's a bit of a meme, but on the other hand, sort of like Pain Gaming in general, who has been to 3 of those last 3 finals and lost. You don't get there by accident, right? There's no participation trophies, but it's still something to be remarked at. We go level down here. FNB pops the Dominus pretty much immediately. And again, just exerting pressure, but not able to drive that killing blow. Still up a good chunk of CS, and he's on that first component there, the Iron Spike Whip. Ego now, he's got level 6, so maybe he's thinking a little something here.
He might be thinking about something bot lane as well. Zenith Blade goes wide, so Damage not quite in the mix as he would have liked. There's a Dragon alive on that bot side, and you can tell that both of our bot lanes are just posturing for it. Now Titan with that blue gun should be able to force priority at any moment, with Envy also making his way down to this river. At the very least, the poke wall is going to look a little bit more favourable for Red, even if the Dragon doesn't get started.
He's just going to get started on that Scuttle Crab, maintain a little more control in that mid lane. CS pretty much even in the mid lane here. Both mid laners on level 6, obviously a lot more impactful for Grevstar. I think once the junglers hit that level 6 mark, you're going to see them be a lot more likely to take those fights. Meanwhile, in the top lane, tracking those teleports like we talked about in the beginning of the game. Maybe not yet, right? Maybe until the teleports become unleashed, you see them used to get themselves to those team fights. But a slow early game, all things considered here. Well, actually, I don't know, 6 minutes to kill each. It's okay.
We saw a 2v2 skirmish. Outside of that, not too much. The junglers haven't particularly shown their faces. Obviously, Grell picked up that return kill down on the bot side. But I'm more interested by this mid lane, as I'll make sure that nothing too untoward happens up here. FNB has just used double dashes. Gigo.
Yeah, and Gigo punishing that, going flash immediately. Yoinks FNB back into range. Grell's going to apply the permafrost stacks. Very well done by the BKS top side.
Perfectly timed as well. No Dominus available for the Renekton on that timer that we saw him use it on the top side. Make sure that you punish him for using that cooldown, and a quick little kill for Grell there. 2-0 on the Sejuani, not the Wukong. not that aggressive all-in jungler that's going to be able to 1v1 the AD carry in the mid game, but certainly making his presence felt.
Yep, no, it's exactly that. Now, gonna get a bit of a nice recall here for Vivo Cade. We go. Not gonna be. Yeah, I think maybe he still wins that, but Aegis. Yeah, he's got the merc shreds. Nothing crazy as far as that sneaky damage that Maokai can do. One thing you do worry about though, it's 2 kills. Yes, early for VKS, but they're both onto Grell. I'm not equating Vivo Cade stars with Liberty, what I'm about to say here, but you kind of saw that with AC, right? All that early gold, all that participation. That went on to a Sejuani. She got Radiant Virtue. Great, but like, it just felt like it was a lot of almost, right? Not quite there. Was ready to start up this first Rift Herald.
We don't have to dilly-dally around it. Sejuani's not a hard carry, right? You don't want gold there if you can avoid it. If you can put gold on your Azir, your Kai'Sa, you would much rather that. And honestly, I'd prefer it on a Cassante as well. That champ does ridiculous things, and we've seen it time and time again. So it is, I would say, the second worst place for it to be. If damage was 2-0, we'd be obviously a lot more concerned. But it's not the end of the world for Grell to have these kills. An early Sunfire Cave means that he just should win every 2 versus 2 that he ends up taking if we go around that mid-jungle duo. And honestly, we've not seen too much of that, I will say. I think that's in part to the less facilitatory nature that we're seeing from Gredstar. And I actually really like the style for him, pulling out a more traditional carry in the Azir. You go FMD scrapping again, though. Dominus popped.
Yeah, it's going to give him a lot more sustain. And maybe the advantage, should that trade have taken place, a little bit further up in his lane. Titan getting some alone time, as it were, with that mid lane turret. A whole truckload of gold into his pocket. Frosty shows up right at the last second, doesn't steal any of that gold. Now, hang on a second. Aegis with some potential shenanigans in the book. I don't think I saw any pings, so I don't think Aegis was found out at all.
No, he's snuck over with a blast cone. Now he's been spotted, though.
Fantastic FNB. Now Gigo goes all out and takes the fight right to Aegis. Gonna try to take someone down with him before it gets too hairy, and he does just that. Gigo pulls the trigger immediately. Almost got that 2v1. He does ridiculous things, I think is what you said, no?
Yeah, and that's exactly why you want your Cassante to get gold. Now Envy under the turret, he should fall.
You would like to think so. This is not your normal 3v1 dive that we saw Red try to pull off against Kaboom last week. This one goes off without a hitch, and they respond, doubling up Red Canids on kills, but still even in gold.
Plenty of CC under that turret. Not a lot for Envy to do once he's been hit by the Glacial Prison. Now Vivo Cade Stars leverage the bot lane play into a dragon as well. It's the first one of the game, starting off that stacking. At 10 minutes into the game, we're going to be seeing a fairly late soul if we see one at all this game. A very good start for Vivo Cade Stars as we've gotten through the break point of that slow early game, heading now into the mid game where you're seeing a little bit more macro-oriented decisions being made. We've already seen Red push Titan into the mid lane so that he can get some plates isolated. But Aegis used a blast cone on the backside of Red buff, got over to here, thought he was going to be sneaky, and you can forgive Red for thinking that a 2v1 would go their way versus a tank. Unfortunately, when you turn Gigo to go all out, he was already below 60% HP. He doesn't mind going into that state at that low health, and you genuinely... there was the part of me that was thinking Omnivamp may have been able to turn it back around. And I mean, Envy, he has nowhere to flash in. If he flashes to the right, he just gets killed a little bit later. So holding onto his flash is very respectful, and honestly the right play, but probably shouldn't have been under that turret in the first place.
Yep, Aegis was, like you said, up on that top side. Could be forgiven for thinking that that would have gone their way. But on the bottom side, Grell says, all right, we're going to have a numbers advantage here, no matter what. They leverage that into a dragon. But the gold difference right now has been just made up by, feels like, what, Titan, basically? Right? Getting all that turret play gold, that's got to be it.
And that's a very traditional Red play as well, right? It's move Titan around to get gold. Now, when they're ahead, they can do this a lot more effectively, and they'll make him take every single turret in the game. But they're in an even wave state, even game at the minute, so just moving him around is their only real source of generating gold. Manages to pick up the Kraken Slayer, has those tier 2 boots as well. So has a slight advantage over Trigo for the time being. In the gold, if we take a look at the experience, it's actually dead even.
And now everyone and their mother coming up to the top side. Grell got his Glacial Prison off cooldown. They're going to crash this wave and nails him with the Glacial Prison. The follow-up damage. Just trying to get Trigo an assist there. It doesn't land. But Grell 3-0 now. Okay.
I'm loving this look from the Vivo Cade Stars. They've turned their identity almost, not on its head, but just a small adaptation. Grethfar's not that all-in mid-lane engage style champion this game, so what does Vivo Cade do? Well, we'll pull a double CC support who can also go heavily invading, and then we just take that with one carry to whichever lane the carry's in and dive somebody under the turret. We saw them do it versus Envy, and they've just done it versus FNB. Ego gets one kill, Trigo gets the other. It's just really well executed, and I think that Damage and Grell as this duo now making a case for the second identity of Vivo Cade Stars.
Right, it's not just the Mad Mexican, right? Kind of going on these solo missions, because that was one thing that we saw was that, look, Grell, he loves to go invading with Grevthar with any lane that gets advantage, but sometimes Grell just kind of goes in by himself. No prio here, no prio there, I'm still going to go forward. There is an enemy red buff to be had. What am I, stupid? I'm not a coward. I'm not going to back off from this opportunity. But no, this looks a lot more controlled. And I think, like you said, you commit damage up there as well. You see the gold on your left there. Titan's still the richest member on the Rift by a lot. But then everybody on Vivo Cade, because of this very collective game that they've been playing, now I think the question is, what can Red do in response, right? Because they have kept this relatively even, but it's just on the back of Titan right now.
And that gold lead, it tells you what they can do, right? It's look to group up around your Aphelios and try and make that advantage pay. Unfortunately, the Aphelios on the one item, generally speaking, one of his weaker stages in the game, and it's not to say that he is weak, period, just to say that he gets stronger with every single item that he finishes. So at this time in the game, you can expect to see Red maybe just cut a couple of their losses, accept the fact that they're not going to win out on some 5v5s, and maybe that second dragon that we're going to see spawning in a little bit of time also goes over to the Vivo Cade Stars.
Zero play gold still picked up by Vivo Cade. The advantage, obviously, you see there is in Red's favor. But Vivo Cade did not go quietly into that good night. Sunfire K picked up here for Guigo, and interestingly enough, the Dustblade picked up for Envy. And into a team like this, I don't know how I feel about that, but tell me your thoughts, Rudu.
So, Dustblade is really good for dive champions because it gives them the stealth and actually the invulnerability now when they find those resets. I don't mind it versus Vivo Cade this game because they are also just 4 divers that are going to be going in.
Damage thinks he might have found a pick. Frosty might be in trouble here, but Titan there to bail him out. AD carry frontline things. That is the game the Titan likes to play. Maokai ult in tow. Not going to find the killing blow, but bails Frosty out.
Okay, so you can see Red looking to make these plays around the Aphelios. Trigo now a little bit lost, getting cut off from that mid wave. Going to have to go the long way around before he can collect that. And you can see Red also posturing, so they wanted to take this diver down on the bot side, but without seeing it, Grell on the map, they know that it's only a matter of time before that Sejuani comes to cover the bot side dive. Grethar going to be able to pick up this wave as well. And there's a point in for Grethar here, right? When playing the Azir, I think there's the point in every game where you have to stop playing to make aggressive swoops and catch people out. We haven't actually got to see that from Grethar just yet, right? He's not been playing with Grell necessarily, been teaming up with Damage, it's mainly just been farming. I mean, now farming up this Drake. And my point here to be, every single time we see an Azir go in the late stages of the game, it tends to throw away their own life, cost them more than it gains the team. I need to see Grethar just piloting the Azir well in the late stages. We've done a good job so far, but unless it is the be-all and end-all of Shurima Shuffles, prioritize your life as a DPS threat because you're the only one who's going to be safe in the backline. If Trigo goes forward, there's no guarantee he gets back out alive.
Grell right over the wall, forces the cleanse out of Titan. And they get the crash there out of that mid lane. Tier 1 Aegis showing up to help defend. Hang on a second. We got some action in the top lane. Gigo, I don't think he's going to walk out of this one alive. All out, be damned. Envy picks up the reset and the kill with FNB.
So here we go. A small win for Red. It's the turret for turret traded, but also a kill in their favor. Now there's a second turret that falls and a re-engage made.
Aegis flashes away and blows that ultimate. FNB joining the fight. Here comes Grethar as well, not prioritizing his own life. Team sees into a rough spot. He uses the Shurima Shuffle defensively. Now Grell looking for the re-engage. FNB in some trouble. Trigo in. Killer Instinct. Nice. And gets the cleanse as well. And somehow is going to survive this Moonlight Vigil. Not going to catch him out. The health bars are so tantalizingly low, Rude, dude. Do they have the range? Damage is going to live this.
Shot blast.
Maybe Aegis. Oh, get the Nature's Grasp into the Scuttle Crab there. Well done. Good use of that. There goes the sapling. Not going to be good enough to catch him. Man, damage. Just wild goose chase, forcing the Nautilus ult as the last measure. Grell going right there onto Titan. He might have this. And indeed he does. How do you do, Titan?
4x4, let's take a quick look at the kills so far. There are 12 kills this game. 7 of them are on our junglers split apart. Now they're going head to head. Yigo's closest to this play. But it's a feast for the support tank junglers this game.
No, they're having a ton of fun right now. Frosty,
you came into this one worried. You were like, oh, two of our most exciting junglers, they're playing tanks. What do we get to see? Well, this is what you get to see when good junglers play tanks. They just take all the kills.
Yep.
We're going to look at the replay of how all of this started up. It's a deep flank from Damage. Hops out from the Raptor Brush, and Aegis just is not the target to go for. Double TP's head in, and unfortunately Grethar is on that wrong side of the teleport. Goes flashing in, unfortunately still can't make it out alive, and at this point on so little HP, you have to cut your losses.
Oh.
Unfortunately, his losses were right into a sapling. Now, this is why we praise Trigo for his Kai'Sa play, knowing the exact limits of his champion. Ultis forward, takes down the Renekton, and has Flash and Cleanse to get out to safety. Also able to escape Envy on the backside of that.
No, it's very good stuff from him, and yeah, it's really rough. I didn't even realize that Grethar died to a sapling there, and they just dogpile onto Guigo. Flashes away, uses the business end of the all-out there, dashing away, and he will survive, but not a ton committed there, actually, from Red, but you blew everything from Guigo. Now taking
But
stock.
it's a big commitment. Once again into the side lane, and with the overloads into these sides, Red are leaving their mid lane a little more exposed. They've already lost a tier 1 and the tier 2 now down to half HP, with Grethar also getting push on this top side. Both of these teams playing this game of whack-a-mole almost. One person makes a play on one side of the map, the other one either responds to it or goes to the other side very well. We're seeing a lot of trades and a lot of very close for engagements that neither side have particularly come out on top of just yet.
No, and they have been throwing a lot of counter punches. It's been really, really exciting to see. We're at 20 minutes. Like you said, the junglers have been involved everywhere. Ooh, almost gets the Void Seeker there. Trigo might have been an opportunity to dive in there. We go, well, I'm not sure if we wanted any part of that, but regardless. Minute 20 until the next dragon spawns. There will be an Ocean Soul on the line in the future, and a Baron up in 30 seconds. Big items being completed here. Envy almost on to that Mirror Man, and not sure he's going to have it up for the next objective, although he would certainly like to. He has vaulted right over Grethar for that CS lead. It was Grethar dominating that, like you said, Rude Dude. He's just been happy to play passively right now, and like you said, it'll be interesting because you pointed out that you can take the Aegis and Grell off the carry champs, but you can't take that carry champ mindset out of these two junglers, clearly, because they are looking to go constantly. And I wonder if you get the same thing from Grethar, right? That last fight, maybe not a good representation of that, because he had that TP in, right? That wasn't him making a bad positioning mistake. That was just a bad TP there, and unfortunately, timed one. But I will be curious to see whether he tries to go for those big hero plays when he doesn't have to, because like you said, you're a consistent damage threat. You're in the back line. Trigo's going to be in the front line, right? Depending on where he gets his ultimate. Guigo, Grell, and Damage can be those facilitators. It doesn't have to be Grethar. It's a very different look. See how they execute it in the team fights.
It's what I want to call the Azir Peninsula, right? You go up, and then at level 6 you have the really good point to try and make plays on enemy mid lane, and then at some point it just crashes down as to how effective those Azir ults can be, because at some point you just throw yourself into the backline, you scoop one person, the other 4 just end up killing you. Now Red, they've gone for a Baron here. They've been spotted out, but it's at 6k, and I think they can burn this down.
Man, they are absolutely melting this thing. TP coming in here from Guigo. Ult from Aegis, who plays defense. Frosty gonna get caught out here by Guigo. Yeah, everyone is gone. Trigo doesn't find the Void Seeker, but he does find the Killer Instinct, goes forward, and Frosty will be the sacrificial lamb, but that is a sacrifice that you are willing to take.
Big win for Red. Oh no, my support doesn't have Baron. What am I gonna do? I will still push every single lane as though I had a Baron buff. It's a really good play from Red, and the fact they get away with just one death. Now, contesting this Drake, probably difficult. They're gonna have little vision, not really anybody to face check this outside of Aegis. BKS should be able to take this Drake, put themselves at Soul Point, and it's the aftermath that is going to need to be important for the Red Canids. What can they get in wake of the double objective take, and can they start taking down some turrets? That mid-tier 1, the big point.
Aegis, no ultimate. Damage finds it with the Zenith Blade. Titan
Titan.
Point blank, the Moonlight Vigil, and Damage just gets melted. He gets 2 there. Grethar a little too close for comfort. Now Aegis using everything he can to try to lock down Guigo, who's going in there on an ill-fated one-way trip. They get the Dragon to Vivo Cade, but at what cost?
And I can respect the mindset from Vivo Cade Stars there. Okay, we've got a 5v4 on the map. Let's try and take a fight. But the way they took that fight was awful. we'd got one person on the Drake, one person walking between the fight and the Dragon, and then the focus was also awful also. They went for ages as opposed to Titan. They're right next to one another. You focus all of your cooldowns on the Maokai, and Titan just rips them apart with the Inferno ulti. Really, really good team fighting from Red. The small-scale skirmish is actually going very heavily in their favour. But just look at how actually split Vivo Cade Stars are here. We've got a couple of people making one decision, a couple of people making another one, and it just doesn't quite work out. It's a 2v3 on this side of the fight, but Grethvar, again, not really able to get in, and it's actually a really, really good flash from Titan to stop himself from getting hit by the Shurima Shuffle and able to just DPS the entire time.
Yeah, he held on to the cleanse there as well. Like you said, it was just knowing what was going to happen should Grethvar go in there. You knew exactly the play he was looking for. And I don't even know if it's back off cooldown, but he did, in fact, use it. It's just on a really short cooldown there.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't.
He got the ulti off, it just did nothing.
Yeah,
because Titan flashed it.
Now he's got himself a Nashor's Tooth, 3 items for the top side of Vivo Cade. Everybody trying to get up to that same sort of mark again. Red did pick up that Baron a little while back. The only one without it is Frosty, but as you pointed out earlier, you are A-okay with that if you are Red Canids. They are coming out ahead in these little skirmishes, and for the first time, any team has a significant gold lead. 3,000, 4,000 really gold here at about 23 minutes.
Yeah, and we take a look at the top right, the power play of Baron, pretty much equivalent to the gold lead. Until that Baron had gone down, there was nothing to separate these two teams, and now Envy, 3 items almost on the Jace, he strips through these turrets.
Grell does get him with the Glacial Prison, but
Kaiser
knowing that unless he's got backup, very good stuff from Trigo going forward. Trigo picks up another one on this Kaiser, 4-1 now.
Burns his flash to get in range of Killer Instinct. Titan's already almost dead!
And Titan will somehow survive this. Very good ult there by Aegis. They get out without even blinking here, really. 2 kills out of nowhere onto Titan.
Severum nerfs were fake. 4x4 Aphelios is still broken. The healing in the late game, again, paying dividends for Titan. And it's just the wrong people to be diving onto the AD carry, your top lane tank and a Leona. Not the targets that you want to be trying to 2 versus 4 and Aphelios with his team surrounding him. Red have done a great job with this Baron at extending that gold lead, taking down turrets. There are non-standing for Vivo Cade Stars outside of their base. And now, we're hitting this break point in items where actually Vivo Cade Stars are still close for now. We get another look at how this works. Trigo is your real carry here. Flashes in to make sure that he can get in range of the Killer Instinct and find the ulti to take down Envy. But that's a small trade for the fact that A, the base is broken open. For 2, Damage and Higo just die here for actually nothing.
Yeah, Frosty got a good hook there on the damage. He yoinked him in, and I think he kind of baited Guigo, and Guigo just said, all right, I'm going in with him, I guess.
And then the question is, why do you even bother defending that turret in a 4v2? Your team are making the play mid lane. Yeah. They've found a kill already. Sacrifice the tier 2 turret. It's a conscious decision that the team has made. They're just not on the same wavelength.
And like you said, Rudu, the items about the same here, but once all that gold starts to cash in, the effects really start to be felt from this Baron power play, which, as again you pointed out, is pretty much the entirety of this gold lead. You're going to see us start to really make a difference, but the key thing, right? 7 towers to 3. It's just the base standing for Vivo Cade. They've got inhibitor towers on the top and mid lane, but top and bottom lane, excuse me, but in the mid lane, that is a naked exposed inhibitor. Ocean Soul potentially up for Vivo Cade Stars in about 55 minutes, but with the way these team fights have been going, like you said, they haven't really looked like they've been on the same page in the mid game. It has been Red pulling them around the map, but they know where they want to be in about 45 seconds. So here we get that ARAM into objective potentially. Vivo Cade Stars have a 5v4 advantage. We go looking for something. Grell on the front line as well.
Here's your important breakpoint. We've got 3 items for Titan, 2 items with components for Trigo. This Aphelios has to be the focus for the Vivo Cade Stars on Red. The rest of that team have to keep Titan safe.
He was looking for something cheeky now.
Oh, that poke.
Find a creative angle here. Grell going forward. There's a lot of poke damage. Somehow sidesteps the hook. Trigo going forward here, but he is left alone to die. Shut down for Titan, and now the fight is swung in Red's favor. Grell will eventually go down. 3 items for Titan, 0 problems for Red. A whole lot of them for Vivo Cade Stars. They run them down. The defensive Shurima Shuffle will be enough to save Grethvar, but that's about it. Red find the fight they want, and they wipe Cade Stars completely off the map. They might be able to end here, indeed.
Greg thought he's got to pull some miracles out of the hat here, thwart Aegis, his cousin, at the final door, but it's just not going to be the case. One wave, can he clear it? I doubt it.
This is exactly what you wanted to see from Red. The early game was good from Vivo Canids. That's been their strength, and they team fight okay, but Red dictated everything. Oh my goodness. The celebrations are always fantastic in the CBLOL, but you can bet your top, bottom, and middle dollars that that celebration was by Aegis. I'm trying to read those on the shirt. Quero ouvir, guerreiros. I want to hear you, Warriors. The Warriors, the mascot of Vivo Cade stars, that helmet.